The sun rose gently over the forest, bathing the world in light. Buddha sat by the shimmering pond, serene and wise. Disciples gathered around him, seeking answers to their unspoken struggles. A young man stepped forward, his face etched with sorrow and pain. "Master," he began, "my heart wrestles with suffering. Injustice and loss weigh heavily upon me each day." Buddha held a lotus plucked from the pond's surface, its petals radiant despite muddy waters beneath. "Do you see how this lotus blooms amidst the mud?" Buddha asked, his voice calm and clear. The young man nodded hesitantly, his eyes fixed on the flower. "But the mud stains its beauty," he replied, his tone heavy with doubt. Buddha smiled and continued, "The lotus thrives not by rejecting mud, but by embracing its nurturing embrace." His gaze turned to the pond, still and reflective. "Life is akin to this pond. The water and mud coexist without resistance," he explained softly, holding the lotus carefully. Another disciple questioned, "Master, are you saying resistance is futile? Should we surrender to struggles instead of fighting back?" Buddha lowered the lotus back into the water, watching it drift gently. "Peace arises when we cease fighting reality," he answered. The lotus swayed on the pond's surface, untouched by resistance or struggle. Its beauty remained, unaffected by mud. Struggles stem from resistance to what is. Acceptance clears the path to serenity, Buddha said, his voice unwavering. "But what if pain overpowers us?" One disciple pressed, seeking clarity. Buddha turned his gaze to the disciple, his expression calm. "Pain is like ripples in the pond. They subside when no resistance stirs them further," Buddha responded softly. The disciples pondered these words, their minds grasping at their deeper meanings. The forest's silence enveloped them as realization slowly dawned. "Master," the young man said, his sorrow lifting gradually, "how do we find peace amidst turmoil?" Buddha pointed towards the horizon, where the sun kissed the earth's edges with warmth. "Peace is not found outside but within." The disciples exchanged glances, recognizing the simplicity yet profundity of these teachings. Buddha rose, the pond glimmering behind him. "Seek the wisdom of the lotus," Buddha concluded gently. Leaving them in contemplation, they stayed by the pond, the lotus their silent teacher. Reflecting its tranquility, the young man, now calmer, observed the lotus with newfound understanding. Struggles faded as clarity emerged in his heart. Buddha walked away, his presence leaving an imprint on their souls. Acceptance, like the lotus, bloomed from deep within. Another day, another moment under the infinite sky. Buddha walked among the stones in a silent valley. Disciples followed closely, seeking wisdom to anchor their wandering minds. A great stone rested nearby, weathered by time, yet unmoved by the forces surrounding it. Buddha paused and placed his hand upon the stone, sensing its eternal stillness. "Imagine, my friends," he began, his voice gentle, "that you are this stone." The disciples watched, curious about the lesson hidden within the immovable rock. "Let your mind flow naturally, unhindered by clinging or resistance, and clarity will arise," a disciple said thoughtfully. "Master, I think I understand." "No, Master," one of them answered softly. "The rock does not push back but allows the water to flow." Buddha nodded, his gaze serene as he spoke further. "Can one practice detachment while fulfilling worldly duties?" "Yes," the Buddha replied. "Detachment is not abandonment. Perform your duties with wisdom, free from clinging to outcomes. The rock does not resist," Buddha explained, and thus retains its strength while harmonizing with the ever-changing current. The disciples contemplated his words, each finding fragments of clarity within their hearts. "But Master," one disciple interjected hesitantly, "how do we become the rock when our hearts are heavy with suffering?" His voice trembled with unspoken pain. Buddha turned his gaze to the disciple, his expression filled with compassion. The answer lies not in suppression but in surrender, he said gently. He gestured towards the stream flowing nearby, its waters glinting under the sunlight. Let the suffering flow as the stream does, Buddha continued, and allow yourself to stand firm like the rock. The disciple listened intently, feeling a flicker of understanding amidst his inner turmoil. Buddha knelt by the stream, observing its natural path through the valley. The water does not change the nature of the rock, Buddha explained. Instead, the rock and stream coexist in harmony. His words resonated deeply, echoing within the minds of his attentive followers. Another disciple asked, "Master, how do we achieve this state of stillness and harmony?" Her eyes sought guidance and reassurance. Buddha picked up a small pebble, letting it rest in his palm. Stillness is not achieved, it is realized within. He tossed the pebble into the stream, watching ripples spread before subsiding into calmness. Like the ripples, Buddha said, our thoughts and emotions disturb our inner stillness, but they too shall pass. Clear the clouds with diligence, and the light of wisdom emerges. Another disciple asked, "Master, what if we falter? Without your guidance, how can we avoid straying from the noble path?" "Faltering is natural," the Buddha replied, "but rise again with compassion for yourself, knowing that mistakes are teachers, not barriers." One by one, the disciples approached the great stone, placing their hands upon its surface. They felt its stillness, its enduring presence amidst the flowing waters and shifting seasons. A sense of calm enveloped them, their struggles momentarily dissolving. The disciple who had spoken earlier bowed before Buddha, gratitude shining in his eyes. "Thank you, Master," he said softly, "for showing us the way to be unmoving amidst life's torrents." Buddha smiled, his presence radiating peace. "Remember, stillness is not resistance but acceptance of what flows around you," he said. He walked away, his robes rustling gently in the breeze, leaving the disciples to reflect in the valley's embrace. The great stone stood as their silent teacher, unyielding and harmonious in its stillness. The disciples remained there, feeling the wisdom of the rock and stream seep into their beings. In time, they began to understand the essence of non-resistance and the peace it brought. The valley, the stream, and the rock bore witness to their transformation, carrying Buddha's teachings to their souls. Another day, another sunrise casting its golden hue over the village. Buddha walked by a glistening river, calm and flowing. Disciples followed behind, their hearts eager to absorb his teachings under the skies painted with morning light. Buddha paused and pointed to the river. "Observe this river," he said gently. "See how it flows freely, unhindered by barriers." The disciples studied the water, its currents unbroken, as the sound of its flow soothed their restless minds. Buddha spoke again. "A farmer once lived by this river," he began, his voice carrying the weight of lessons hidden within his tale. He tried to control its flow by building walls and canals, redirecting its path away from his fields, Buddha narrated. The disciples listened closely, picturing the farmer and his futile labor against the river's natural course. Buddha continued calmly, "But the river laughed," Buddha said, his gaze fixed on the sparkling currents. "It overflowed and broke his barriers, rushing freely." The disciples smiled, imagining the defiant spirit of the laughing river. Buddha turned to them with a question. "Why does the river laugh?" he asked, his tone inviting their reflections. "All compounded things dissolve," the Buddha said, "but the Dharma is timeless. Walk the path with love, courage, and unyielding resolve." Buddha nodded, his expression serene. "Life, like this river, is unpredictable and untamable. It flows where it wills, beyond our control." The disciples pondered his words, their thoughts weaving through the truth of life's currents and struggles. Buddha spoke again. When we struggle to control life's flow, we fight against its nature. And life laughs at our arrogance, he explained. A disciple asked, Master, how do we live harmoniously with life's unpredictable currents? His voice carried the weight of unspoken fears. Buddha gestured to the river, its waters glinting under the sunlight. By flowing with life's currents, not against them, he answered. Non-resistance is the way to harmony, Buddha continued, his gaze steady and wise. Peace lies in accepting what flows naturally. Another disciple asked, what if the currents are harsh and overwhelming? How do we endure them without resistance? Buddha's gaze softened as he replied, even turbulent waters subside eventually. Endure them by surrendering, knowing they are impermanent. The disciples absorbed his teachings, their hearts quieter as they observed the river's unyielding yet harmonious flow. Buddha knelt by the river, letting his fingers touch the cool water. Life is a river, ever changing and free, he said. He picked up a leaf drifting along the current. Like this leaf, we must move with life's flow. The disciples nodded, seeing the wisdom reflected in the river's effortless movement and the leaf's natural surrender. Buddha rose, his robes swaying gently in the breeze. Let life's currents guide you, not your resistance against them, he said. The river continued its journey, its laughter resonating within the hearts of the disciples. Carrying Buddha's words, the disciples stood by the river, feeling its essence seep into their beings. Their struggles momentarily eased by understanding. The village, the river, and the sky bore witness to their transformation, carrying Buddha's teachings to their souls. In time, the disciples began to flow with life's currents, finding serenity in the harmony of non-resistance. Buddha walked away, his presence leaving an imprint on their spirits. As the river whispered its wisdom to the earth, Buddha sat in the serene monasteries of Rajgir. His disciples gathered to hear their master speak. Buddha's voice carried a profound calm as he said, My time in this earthly form will soon pass. Disciples, thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.